at one point it will become at the same level. Then you again adapt it to that level where it is going down. The moment you feel that the ASI is moving, you stop there, and that will tell you the abduction deformity. Further abduction, you check it, and then it will tell you how much further abduction is possible. Okay. After you have done abduction, adduction, if there is any abduction or adduction present on either side, there won't be any adduction or abduction deformity, because it is a corollary. Whenever there is a deformity, the opposite arc moment should be absent. So if there is movement in both the arcs, that means there is no deformity. The ASI should remain at the same levels. Now once you have done that, you have to go for the rotations. Rotations, this is called as neutral rotation. When the foot should appear straight, the patella should face the roof. Let's see for the external rotation. This is 90 degrees of external rotation. See for the internal rotation. This is almost 80 degrees of internal rotation. You compare it with the opposite side, and then you tell your findings. This is rotations in extension of the knee. Now you have to also see for the rotations in 90 degrees of hip and knee flexion if it is possible. If the hip is not going in flexion, then whatever amount of flexion is possible, you have to check in that flexion and 90 degrees of knee flexion. Okay, in 90 degrees of knee flexion, you have to see for the rotations. Okay, so this is when the limb is going internally. This is actually external rotation of the hip, and this is almost 90 degrees. Again, this is internal rotation of the hip, and this is almost 80 degrees, 70-80 degrees. So this is corresponding with the rotations in extension, and in flexion the rotations would be slightly less, but you have to always measure it compared to the opposite side. So comparing with the opposite side, if both the rotations are normal, then it is okay. In some conditions like avascular necrosis, you can get differential rotations, where the rotation in extension would be more, and compared, or sometimes in flexion there won't be much rotations. The rotations would be restricted. In extension, the rotations would be more, or sometimes it can go vice versa. So if this is happening, then it is called as differential rotation. Differential rotation also tells that there is some sectoral involvement of the femoral head. And there is one more movement which is called as axis deviation. And if you flex the hip and knee completely, that knee tends to go towards the opposite shoulder. But if it is not going, and if it is going towards the same shoulder like this is called as obligatory external rotation. If there is obligatory external rotation, that indicates that there is internal rotation deficit and some sectoral involvement of the hip joint. Now after you have done movements also should be described in terms of pain. How much, whether the movements are painful or not, whether they are associated with crepitus, whether they are associated with spasm. So that completes your range of movement. Now comes measurements. So for measurements, first measurements would be, if there is any wasting, you measure the wasting. You make a fixed point, bony point on either side, and mark it from there to a distance in the thigh or in the buttocks or in the calf, and then you measure at that level. For limb length measurements, there are two types of measurements. One is apparent length and another is true length. So the apparent length measurements, the limbs should be parallel. The limbs should be parallel. No matter whatever abduction or adduction deformity there is, but the limbs should be parallel. In parallel position, if you see that there is any shortening or lengthening, that is called as apparent shortening or apparent lengthening. And then you measure that from the fixed bony central point like the Xiphi sternum. So I will mark the Xiphi sternum here. It is the bony point in the center.